remember to download both the Barn Burner and ZINGOTV apps in their respective app store on iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure to rate and leave a comment. Let us know what you're thinking. Both apps are free. ZINGOTV is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire and Fire TV sticks, Roku and Roku sticks, also on all smart TVs 2016 forward. Brooke, my co-host, Avery, how are you?
Doing well, Lens. Not too bad. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing well. I'm doing just well. Perfect. Another week.
Yeah.
More things to talk about. Lots on the plate today. We've got another special guest joining us shortly. First of all, we got to give a quick shout out to our old teammate and friend, Abby Miller, Andrew Bateman. They got engaged.
Yes, it's so exciting. I'm so pumped. Like, I want the wedding to be like literally tomorrow.
Right, the first ones. That's exciting. I think we could have guessed that.
I know. I think we did guess it. And also, like, you always have those friends when you're like, okay, when they get married, this wedding is going to be like insane. That's this one.
It's a big huge love. He was on the rowing team, she's on the hockey team, so there's going to be tons of orange in attendance, I'm sure. So that'll be nothing short of a
good time. It'll be a good time for sure.
Absolutely. But let's talk about women making moves in sports, Brooke. The Miami Marlins hire Kim Ng as first female GM in MLB history and in major North American men's professional sports leagues in total.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, I think it's so cool. I mean, we've seen a couple of females break through in the NFL, you know what I mean? You know, being coaches and stuff in the NBA, being on the coaching staff or the athletic staff. And now, like, we have a female GM and it's insane. Like, I was reading on this a little bit today and it was saying how it was like 15 years in the making, basically. Like, she applied for a front office job, or maybe not even front office. She applied for a GM position 15 years ago and now is finally here. So it's like, that is literally the epitome of never give up on your dreams. And like, if you want it, go for it, because it could take 15, it could take longer. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just incredible. And it's awesome for female as a whole, and especially in the world of professional sports. So we are so happy. And I think I have to be a Marlins fan now.
Yeah. Well, like you said, like, if you just keep her going, you'll get there, right? And she started as an intern for Chicago and worked her way up. But has 30 years of experience. That's pretty impressive. And she's been like the assistant GM of the Dodgers, the Yankees. You know, she's got 3 World Series rings. So it's pretty remarkable. And I know I gives me a little bit of hope, because I've been in the internship position, like fresh out of it, fresh kind of in it, you know, still working my way through that. So seeing that she's made it is pretty cool. But also Hershey Bears hired, that's the farm team of the Washington Capitals. They hired Emily Engel-Natsky. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. It's a tough one, as a team video coach. This makes her the first female coach in the Washington Capitals organization. So that's another big kudos to her.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know, like, sometimes we don't recognize as much the accomplishments that are made even in professional organizations that maybe aren't the top level. But I think it kind of hits home for me a little bit, because where I'm from, we have a farm team. It used to be for the LA Kings. They're no longer, they're in the ECHL now. But growing up, like, I was always going to the Manchester Monarchs. Like, that was the game to go to, because New Hampshire didn't have as many professional sports. So just to, again, like, it's a very common theme that we have. If you can see it, you can be it. And so it's like, wow, like, I was growing up playing hockey, men's hockey, and now I see women in the females in the men's sphere, kind of, is what a lot of people tend to call it. And it's like, wow, like, if I had seen that when I was younger, how, you know what I mean? How would that have kind of impacted my career moving forward? So I think it's awesome. And again, just hits home a little bit more, because been there and seen all those games and kind of follow the Hershey Bears a little bit for a while. But yeah, I mean, again, just huge for women, and especially in this athletic sphere.
Well, also, Brooke, I got a note. She also was the video coach of Wisconsin since 2015, men's and women's. So she probably has footage of my 4-minute shift in Wisco, just going absolutely in circles, because got dominated.
Lindsay, she probably, like, if we're talking ice time, she's probably got me on for, I'm a forward. I should be 30 seconds and off, at least 3 minutes, multiple times too. Like, that was just not a good weekend for us.
Yeah, that was a tough weekend.
But now it comes with good stories. So here we are.
Absolutely. Shall we dive into them?
Yeah, suppose we can.
Where do we start?
Oh God, I don't know. All I know is that weekend, if we're talking Wisco, like, this happened our senior year. Well, my senior year, Lindsay's redshirt junior year. And we were like in those, when you get in those moments in games and you're like, okay, like, I know this is going to be a good game for me. Like, we're ready to go. We went into Wisconsin. It was a Saturday, Sunday series. And it was my birthday weekend. So I was pumped. I was like, yes, like, we're going to win. And my birthday's on that Sunday. I'm like, wait, like, the whole team is behind it. Like, we're going to kill it. We got rocked. What was it? 6 or 9? Was it 9 the first game?
I thought it was 10-1.
9 or 10-1.
Yeah.
We got blown out. Like, and we were like, oh, damn, like, we got to come back tomorrow. And that next day was my birthday. And I'm like, all right, we wiped it off. We put that game behind us, and we come in on my birthday. I'm like, we're all feeling the energy. We're like, all right, like, we got this. We got our game plan down. We know what we want to do. Got rocked again. 6-1. We're like, oh no, like, what do we do? Like, it was one of the most miserable road trips too, because, like, we had to get on a plane and fly home, and then we had school the next morning.
Oh, don't get me started. Well, first of all, water bottles were thrown that weekend, and they were not by our coach. So that's how you know it was a tough weekend. Also, Monday morning class rolls around, and we're
getting class checked.
I have an 8 a.m. We didn't get home until 3 a.m. They're like, we're doing class checkers tomorrow. I'm like, I have an 8 a.m. Like, there's no way I'm getting up for that. And then we have practice after, and they're like, if you're not there, like, you're gonna get in trouble. And then I freaking go, and guess who shows up? Good old faithful Lene.
Yeah, our class checker.
On me. As I'm walking out of class, I'm like, I'm here. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, legit. And you're like, all right, but now that she's there, I'm gonna leave.
Yeah. It was at the end too. It's like she knew.
Oh, so you had to stay the whole time, like, classic, of course. But yeah. So
anyways, but Brooke, I mean, women are really making their mark these days, and we love to see that. It's unbelievable. If you could make your mark like these women, how would it be?
Honestly, like, I feel, I mean, I'm not in that position, but, like, I would feel, maybe not, this is just personally, like, I feel like I would feel a lot of pressure, because I'm like, I have a lot of people that I have to, like, that are looking up to me. But at the same time, it's motivational. You know what I mean? Because it's like, okay, I'm breaking through these glass ceilings, like, little by little, and I have all of these people behind me, but they want the same mission, and they're going to follow in my footsteps. So it's like, to be able to be that figure, like, I feel is very difficult for a lot of people. And so that's why I admire what these women are doing, because, like I said, some people don't do well, not just with pressure, but, like, just having that sense of, like, being able to connect with people all the time, being able to represent people, to lead people, you know what I mean? Like, that comes very naturally for a lot of people. But if that aspect isn't there, and it's like, how are we going to move forward with that? You know what I mean? So I think that this is just so important and so big for not just sports. I think that that's, like, the bigger conversation, is that it's females in general, like, in the world. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Kamala Harris, you know what I mean? Like, that's a big thing for being the vice president. That's huge. Like, it doesn't matter if she's a Democrat or a Republican, like, she is there, and she's making strides for us and for our entire generation. So I just think that whole thing is wild, and I don't know how I would do personally. I like to think that I'm a decent leader here and there, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh yeah, come talk to me if you have a problem. But I don't know. It's just like, when you have all of these people, and it's like the entire world basically that are following you, and you have to lead by example on that, like, it's a lot of pressure, but these women are killing it. So, I mean, I would throw the same question at you. Like, how do you see that?
Yeah, well, I think it just goes to show that the world's changing, which is exciting, and it's for the better, right? So, for me, you know, I want to make a living working in sports, and more particular sports media, doing this, you know. So something that is, if I can break down those walls, if we can get, you know, they have the ESPNW, that's amazing.
Right.
That just sets the tone for women's sports and female broadcasters and whatnot. And
Mhm.
it would be amazing, like what we're doing here on the Her Network. That's huge for me, and I think that's how I want to make my mark. And it's just
Yeah.
putting, you know, doing stuff like this, giving female other girls and females a voice and giving them a chance to be heard or whatnot. That's the way the world is also changing. It's digital, and everyone's on social media or whatnot. So
Mhm.
if I can make a positive impact for a little girl who wants to do what I'm trying to do, I mean, I don't even think, like, I still look up to people like crazy. So,
Right.
you know, I'm following in their footsteps. And so if I can make a mark, it's in this world right here, what we're doing, Brooke. So
Yeah.
let's keep her going.
I
So
know. And our special guest is like the best segue for us to bring in. So, I mean, for anyone that hasn't seen our Instagram post or heard about it, um, she's here. Her name is Blake, and she is a scout with the NHL with the LA Kings. She's also the growth and inclusion specialist. And Blake, we were just talking about like our legacy basically that we want to leave as female hockey players and being involved. So I'll give a very brief intro. She is like incredible. So it's too long to go through, but long story short, she's from Cleveland, Ohio. She went to Northwood in Lake Placid, which I heard is beautiful. So I'm very jealous. So we'll have to hear about that at some point. Participated in the U18 World Championships, won gold twice for Team USA. Go USA. Yeah, Eastwood, you heard it first. I went to BC, so fellow Hockey East member, All-American Defensive Player of the Year, like, again, could go on for days, professional hockey player, CWHL, NWHL, champion in both leagues, and is also the first Black female player in the NWHL. So we are just so excited to have you here, Blake. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys, for having me. Can you hear me all right?
Yes. Yep.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah. So we just like really wanted to bring you on because obviously with all of these big announcements of females in sports like breaking through the glass ceiling, and especially with you, and obviously we see your USA Hockey article, but you know, we have really just been inspired by all the things that you do. So we're really happy to be here. And Lindsay, I don't want to call you off because I know you're excited too, so I'll let you speak. But yeah, no, we're really honored to have you, so thank you again.
Oh, the honor's all mine. I love when women are pumped about other women, you know?
Yes.
yeah,
Good
that's
stuff.
the way to do it. That's the biggest issue with girls is when women is when they tear each other down. Everyone, oh, but
I know.
this is awesome. So Blake, you know, tell us a little bit about being a scout. What made you want to become a scout?
Oh man, I kind of just fell into my lap actually. It's not like I woke up one day, got hit on the head and was like, I'm gonna be a scout. I was actually attending a LA Kings game and at the Staples Center, and I ran into Luc Robitaille, who's the president of the Los Angeles Kings. And obviously, I wanted to say hello to him because it's Luc Robitaille and he's a legend. And he knew all about women's hockey, and he was very knowledgeable about, you know, the strides that we're taking, the hustle that we have. And he was just like, listen, like, are you interested in being a scout? Like, you have the credentials, you've been playing hockey for a long time. You know, we're at the forefront of equity and inclusion for hockey and everyone in the Los Angeles Kings like narrative. So he was like, let's try to make this happen. So that's kind of how it worked out. I went through my interview process and I started this year in January.
That's awesome. So what was the beginning of that process like when you actually got into the mix and were hired by them?
Oh man, it was kind of fast. Like it was like I met Luc Robitaille, I sent in my resume. I went in for interviews to meet player personnel and GMs and operations directors, and just to see if like my personality fit, if I could hang with the guys. And I just remember being invited to an LA Kings game. I met Rob Blake, and I was like, oh my god, that's Rob Blake. And it was just like super fast. It was just like, whew, this is what you gotta think quick on your feet, and learn the scouting lingo. And from there, it was just like, okay, you're AHL scout. You're going to travel in the Pacific region, and these are the teams that you're responsible for, and you need to watch them this many times and go. And I was like, okay.
Wow. I guess, yeah, like my kind of question with that too is like, we hear about scouts all the time. You know what I mean? Like we have a general idea they're looking for the next top talent. But I guess like what else goes into that that people might not know about, or that what is your favorite part of doing that too? Because obviously you get to travel, which is fun,
Yeah.
and you get to
Yeah.
watch a lot of hockey, which is also
Mhm.
great. And I guess for me, like I would be like, oh yeah, that player is good. And then a scout would be like, oh, but he's missing this, this, and this, or she's missing
Yeah.
this shot. You know what I mean? Like, how do you
Right.
see that? Like, what's your vision like?
I think for everyone, and I think that's a great point you just made. Everyone has their own, perspective, and they perceive what they're viewing on the game differently, which is cool. But one thing that we have to remain clear is that, like, for instance, if our level of like skating, let's say like we think skating is from a scale of like 1 to 10, 10 being obviously you're amazing. You can, separate yourself from someone. You can make tight turns. You're agile. Your glide is nice when your feet aren't moving. It's just like, okay, is my 10 the same as someone else's 10? So it's just kind of like you have to realize your worth. And I knew that I was new. So I had a lot of ground that I needed to cover and make up and to introduce myself to the players. So I kind of just started with like what we were already looking at, and then branched and broadened my horizons from there.
Gotcha. Now, you mentioned having to fit in with the guys, and that's something you have a seat at the boys' table right now. Um, is that intimidating? Do you ever get
Yeah,
nervous, or what's it
dude.
like?
Of course, it's intimidating. It's just like standing up in front of, well, you're not in front of hundreds of people, but you feel like you're in front of hundreds of people, and you're like, okay, like this is my assessment of this player, and I hope you guys agree. But if you don't, like, this is my reasoning why. So yeah, it is intimidating. Everyone's eyes are on you. Especially I'm the new kid. I'm trying to earn my stripes here, so I'm trying to gain respect just like everybody else did when they first came on. And obviously, I'm getting all this notoriety and attention. So, not to say that that doesn't help my cause, but I definitely don't want to mess up.
Yeah.
So, I just want to be the best that I can be, and just try to be as confident. But it is very nerve wracking. It's like, but you can take those butterflies and use that for good instead of like crashing and like failing and burning.
It sounds like a big game, like heading into like a big championship game,
Exactly.
you know?
It's like, okay, Blake, you're up. Like, what do you see? And the puck drops, and you're like, do, 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 do. So it's
Yeah.
fun. It is
That's
fun. And then after, you'll get a text from like a fellow scout, and they'll be like, yo, that was dope. And I'm like, yeah, I saw that too.
Yes, that's what I know. I feel like a game, and you're like, oh, like that was you guys did so well. Like we just watched you killed, and you're like, oh, thanks. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I
It's
didn't think
good.
I
It's
played
good.
that good, but now that you do, sweet.
Right. You play better when someone gives you some
Right.
props.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I guess we've talked a lot, obviously, about scouting, but you also are a growth and inclusion specialist there. So can you kind of talk about how that came about too? Because I know that you are leading the LA Kings Inclusion Initiative. So can you just talk a little bit about that? Because I feel, especially now, it is totally relevant and it is so
Yeah.
interesting. So it's
Yep.
it's really great for not only our sport but our entire world.
For sure, for sure. And, I have to give my kudos to the Kings because they were thinking about this process and seeing all of the vision of me being at the forefront of this initiative before the tragedies of this year have really happened, right? So I got hired in January, and Luke Robitaille and our COO director, Cheeseman, were like, hey, listen, like, I know that you're really passionate about growing the sport. What do you say about growing the sport here in LA? You know, like, let's try to build out your vision here, where we have one of the most diverse markets in the United States. And of course, my eyes are big and I'm like, really? You're giving me the keys to the castle? Like, let's go, like LFG. And so we have
Yes.
like a really good executive, we have very good leadership with the Los Angeles Kings, and everyone is on board. And I'm not really doing that much, but just throwing out ideas and making, and if they stick, they stick. But the Kings have been doing great work for years before I even got there. So I'm really just amplifying their voice and getting into the community and having a really good time. And right now it's challenging to be stuck at home. We work with a lot of boys and girls clubs and YMCAs and public schools and different nonprofit organizations, but we're just going to kind of wait to see what plays out. But we have a lot of things planned for the future.
Oh, that's awesome to hear, because you know, sometimes the NHL, as of lately, they've been taking a lot of heat for not doing enough. And so just knowing that the LA Kings at least are they've been doing the right thing and for some time now, and that you're spearheading this, that's awesome to hear that.
It's just so cool. You know, we've got myself as a new hire. We got Quinton Byfield, number 2 overall, as the highest drafted Black player in the history of NHL. And LA is really responding as good as you could imagine about all the changes that are happening. We got 2 championships, and hopefully the next one will be with the Kings. And I think too, like, hockey culture is very humble. And I think the NHL has a lot of things that they do that they don't brag about. And so I think it's our job as ambassadors for the sport to just be out there and be like, listen, this is a change we're trying to see over a course of X amount of time. It's not going to happen overnight, but you will see some change in the future.
Mhm.
Oh, that's awesome. So for us as hockey players or for our fans that are watching and listening, what can we do to help push this forward?
Oh man, well, you're doing it right now. You're giving me a microphone. You're supporting the movement. I think unlearning some biases that may you might have had, and just continuing on your education and your journey to understanding equity and social injustices that are happening, and sometimes understanding your privilege doesn't matter, you know, what race, what gender you are, but just saying how your puzzle fits in the piece. And you know, I think there's a piece of us all that want goodness in the world. So you just finding that niche and finding your people and riding with that.
Okay. Well, I also know you've been working with Willie O'Ree before, and you know, what kind of stuff have you done with him? And he's a pretty cool. He's a legend, so that's pretty cool getting to work with him.
And a fellow
Man,
Bruin, so obviously he's got my support.
Yo, Willie O'Ree is the man. He just turned 86. It was just his 86th birthday. I called him up and he was just like, Blakey, like, what's up, kid? You know, we're like this. He actually lives in San Diego too. So that's really nice that we're actually just 15 minutes away from each other. But during Black History Month, it's just like a whirlwind for us. We're traveling a lot, especially with the NHL Mobile Black History Museum, curated by Kwame Mason, The Color of Hockey, or you know what I'm trying to say, Soul on Ice documentary, excuse me. Yeah, we're always doing stuff. It's really fun, and I hope that he is, you know, healthy enough to stick around, because he is a true trailblazer and gave me some space to hang out with him. So I really enjoy it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I know obviously, like I said, being a Bruins fan, you know who Willie O'Ree is, but again, to be just a trailblazer for the sport as it is, so it's just so cool to be able to see a relationship blossom from that. So obviously, it's very important just for our sport too, but for everyone. So I guess kind of going off of that too, like, you've been involved in hockey forever, so
Yeah,
you
it
know,
seems
how,
like
like,
it.
what was your experience like growing up? I mean, obviously went to Northwood and BC. And so do you miss playing hockey? Like, is it hard to be able to watch all this hockey, and are you still playing? You know, like, can you kind of give us a background on that? Because we know you played the NWHL, CWHL, PWHPA, like you've done it all. So
Yeah. Um, I play hockey out here in San Diego just for fun a lot. And I had a couple of trainers that were training me on a weekly basis. So when I was flying to the East Coast, I'd be in shape. But right now, with the Rona and everything going on, like no one knows when their season's starting and when the puck's dropping. And I feel like I'm making a really big impact working with the Los Angeles Kings and being a part of NHL initiatives. So I won't say the word retirement, but we're just kind of playing it by ear.
yeah.
But I just love like watching hockey. I think my scouting brain is finally turning on, and I don't know if I'll hit that time where I'm like, oh, I wish I was still playing, because I'd rather go out when I'm still good than when I'm like
True,
when
true.
they're like, Blake, get off the ice, like you suck.
That's true. That's true. I totally feel that. One of my teammates said the same thing. She's like, I'm gonna retire when I'm actually like not relevant anymore. So I'm like, yeah, that's relatable. And I totally agree with you too, because like when I started my career, I knew that I wanted to do like broadcasting. That's what I thought I wanted to do. And I did it, and I'm like, it's not what I want to do. Like I did it, learned it, and I'm like, it's not for me. But I like working on the back end of sports. And like you said, I love watching hockey like that. I mean, we grew up, we know it, you know what I mean? So just having that passion and being able to watch as a scout, which you do all the time, I'm like, yeah, you know what? Like I could see myself doing that. Like that's cool.
Yeah.
So,
Come
so
on up, girl. Let's go.
there you go. Future scouts right here.
Well, that's just it too. Like this summer, I got to cover the Tampa Bay Lightning in the bubble in Toronto, and I was watching like Victor Hedman. I'm a defense, so
Oh,
and I'm
yeah.
6 feet tall, big deep defender like Hedman. So I'm getting to watch him, and I'm like studying his game for the articles. But I'm like learning how to play hockey better than I ever have. So do you
Yep.
notice? Like, do you think that you're learning the game even better as a player getting to scout?
Yeah, for sure. I see some things that I'm just like, dang, like I would have never done that, or I would never like even thought of that, you know? And the
Yeah.
game evolved so quickly too. I'm currently watching some European guys, and the rink is much larger over there, and everyone's so good at skating. It's like wild how fast these guys are. So I'm just like, oh wow, like defense aren't even defense. They're like these interchangeable forwards, and everybody's cycling, and I'm just like, there's just no more dump and chase. Like everything is finesse these days, and it's like really cool to just see these plays develop just from this like seat from afar. So yeah, I think it just helps. You just think hockey IQ, it's growing every day, I feel like.
For sure. And do you ever play any roller hockey?
Oh, dude, yeah, I love it. Narge tournament in
Oh yeah.
Irvine, get at me. Or
Ooh,
someone can play on my team too, because I
okay.
love bringing my friends to California to vibe with me and just like beat up on some teenagers. Like, why not?
Wait, Eastwood, I feel like we should need to book a trip now because we have a teammate
Yeah.
from Syracuse. Do you know where she lives exactly, Eastwood? I don't remember exactly.
It's LA.
Is it LA? And
Yeah.
she like so she played with our team. She played for Boston for a year, and now
Yeah.
she plays roller hockey, and it's like all dudes, and she kills them. And we're like,
Yeah.
that's like sick. Like I kind of want to do that. Like we all have rollerblades, but we're like, oh, we're just kind of like
You just
rolling
like go
around.
on a boardwalk
Yeah,
somewhere. It's like,
yeah.
no, you
Oh
can
yeah.
get some silky mitts playing
Yeah.
roller.
Oh, that
Silky.
would be so fun. Eastwood, I think we have our next calling.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think you're right, bro.
Yeah, that's funny. So I guess Blake too. So we've talked hockey and all that stuff, but our show is very big on like getting to know people personally too. So obviously, I went to UNH for 2 years, Hockey East girl, grew up around Boston. So can you tell us a little bit about your experience like at BC? Maybe not necessarily hockey related, but just like your major, like any funny stories or embarrassing stories of your teammates that you might not want to tell
Oh
otherwise. Like we're here
gosh.
for it all.
Well, I can tell embarrassing stories about myself. Like,
Perfect.
it's not great. I don't know if I want to share, but yeah, BC was fun. I got a BC sweatshirt on right
Yeah, I
now
saw
today.
that.
I loved it. I mean, I wanted to go to BC when I was 14 years old. I saw them in Lake Placid play in the Frozen Four, and they got their, well, I wouldn't say they got their butts kicked, but they lost to Minnesota Duluth, I believe. And they weren't projected to win. Like I was just really captivated by how hard they worked and how they were like a kind of a like a bottom of the barrel like team that you're rooting for, like come on, let's
Yeah.
go. So I just wanted to go there and like maybe help change a program around and be like an added bonus or a big fish in a smaller pond. I don't know. So I loved it. Boston's a beautiful city. There's a lot to do there, tons of history. I double majored in human development and psychology. I just found the mind fascinating and why it is that we do the things we do or who we become and why that is. I thought I wanted to be like a therapist. I worked in a nonprofit that helped inner city kids get out of the streets and into the gym, maybe creating job opportunities for themselves. So I thought that was my passion. And then I continued on with hockey. And I was like, no, think I'm going to stick with hockey. But yeah, BC was great. I loved it so much. I had a blast. I don't want to be back in college, but I think of those memories fondly. A ridiculous story my freshman year. There's a Marathon Monday. So
Mm.
Marathon Monday is obviously the Boston Marathon,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's basically, oh, my dog's coming in.
Oh,
Show. Hi, Shiloh. Hi, honey. Go lay down. Go
Special
lay
guest.
down. Go lay down. Go lay down. I had Marathon one day, and I was a freshman, didn't know anything about consuming alcohol responsibly. And I went to the cafeteria. Honestly, I got like a taco or something like that, and I fell asleep because I was inebriated like to the cap. And so everyone at Marathon Monday, it's like a drinking holiday in college. I don't even know if I should be telling this story because it's supposed to be inspiring.
We love it.
But I fell asleep at the cafeteria table. I woke up, right? I have like a stretcher surrounded by me, police surrounded by me, and I had to get like dragged to the infirmary, and I had to stay there for like 6 hours. So I missed the entire race. Like I woke up the next day and I was just like, oh gosh, that was so embarrassing. And I had to call and tell my coaches what happened. And it wasn't a good story. So from there, my teammates just kept calling me Taco because I fell asleep like in a taco, and they're like taco, taco, taco. So if you ever heard anybody call me Taco, that's why.
Wow, that's good to know. Now there's a backstory to it. No, honestly, we talk about embarrassing stories all the time. Eastman one time woke me up as I was asleep in my bathtub. So.
Yeah, I saved your life. In other words,
literally, I almost drowned.
Could have drowned.
I thank God Ethan was there to save me.
You know what? Just stick with your friends if you're gonna do some crazy stuff. I just went off.
For sure.
I was doing my own thing. I was like, I need to eat. Fell asleep. Don't do it. Just don't.
Brooke, what's the name of the bar?
Oh, Agoros. Was that like a spot for you guys? Or because I know that like a lot of girls go there, or they used to go there, and like that was like the spot, but I didn't know if that was like a thing that got passed down or
in Boston.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't like have a fake ID because I didn't have like a black
you were
person to hand me down a fake ID. It wasn't gonna pass for any other race, so I was kind of butt out until I was 21. But yeah, I don't really know about too many bars. I didn't really go out that much.
That's funny. No, honestly, you say that about Marathon Monday, and I totally know what you're talking about. And also, St. Patty's Day.
Mm-hmm.
I love
Boston loves to turn up.
Yeah, that's one. I mean, look at my skin. Like I am full blown Irish. Like that's my day. And good stories always come of it, but
I can tell you after that like incident, I like did not drink anymore. After that, I was like, nope, done. We're here for sports and education.
Yep, we all have time.
Well, I know my memory of BC is when Alex Carpenter was on the team, and she came. You guys came, well, you weren't on the team at that point, but came to Syracuse, and she single-handedly beat our team.
Oh, yeah.
She tends to do that.
Yeah. I remember
we just kind of looked down the bench and we're like, you gonna do something? She's like, I got this.
Yeah, freshman year we lost to BC at BC's rink 10-0. And they played that goal song. I forget what it was called. And they did not stop. it went every time. The lights were going down, 7, 8, 9. I'm like, oh my God, please.
That's so rude. Come on, guys. You're classier than that.
Get me home. Get me on the bus.
You gotta live through those though. They teach you a lot.
For sure.
Well, Blake, this has been great. You're awesome. You're an inspiration to all of us. So keep doing what you're doing, and we're following along like everyone else. Love seeing you on the cover of the USA Hockey Magazine, even though I'm a Canadian. But keep it up, please. This is awesome.
Thanks so much, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much, Blake. We'll definitely be in touch soon, and we'll have to bring you back on too, because this was so fun.
Yeah, I'm glad you had fun. It was fun for me too. I love that you guys are sharing stories. It's awesome.
For sure.
We need more of it.
Yeah, we'll definitely have you back soon. But until then, hold the fort down in LA for us, and
got you.
And good luck with everything.
Alrighty.
We'll talk to you soon.
Alrighty, bye, girls.
Bye.
Thank you. Another good one, Brooke. Another good one.
I am in shock. I am in shock. Blake Bolden, for the most part, there are big names that playing growing up, and you're like, okay, these are the Olympians, these are the superstars. And I have heard Blake's name, I think, ever since I started playing girls hockey, which was over 10 years ago. She is incredible, and she is so nice. One of my teammates from last year on the Rivs played at BC, and I was like, hey, we want to get Blake on here. We need to talk to her. So I was like, do you have your email? And blah, blah, blah. She's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, perfect. Because this girl is awesome. And especially with all of her coverage, like she said, this is it. It was a long shot. And I was like, okay, well, if she doesn't answer, well, we'll have to figure something out, but hopefully she answers. And she answered within 5 minutes, and I'm like, I feel like a rock star right now. I feel important right now. So that was awesome.
That's the hockey community helping each other out. It's awesome to see.
100%.
Well, imagine a scout. Scouts can be seen as intimidating and scary. So
yeah, they have your future.
So she's so chill. If she came up to me after a game, I'd be laid back.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. She was great. But happy to have her on. And but let's go on. Let's go on to what's going on in the sports world right now. The Masters just wrapped up today. Dustin Johnson, sorry,
DJ,
not a golfer.
Yeah.
He's the champ. Got the green jacket. I know that much.
Yep, and he's married to Wayne Gretzky's daughter. So obviously, big hockey connection there. So that's awesome. And also, big thing for me, Chase Elliott won the NASCAR Cup title series. So I'm sure I'm going to get heated for this one, but hey, it's still a big accomplishment in my book, and the racetrack's in my hometown. So
terribly sorry to anyone else who watches NASCAR, but does anyone else watch NASCAR?
Okay.
Brooke, you watch that?
Yes, because, and this is why I will defend myself right now, because I used to think left turn, left turn, left turn. That's all it was. And then I did an internship at the racetrack in New Hampshire for a summer when I was in college, doing communications and all that stuff. I met Eric Pasley. I met a couple actors. I forget who it was exactly, but I met a lot of famous people. I'm like, this is cool. And I got to meet some of the drivers, and I'm like, okay, I got to pay more attention to the sport. And then I worked on the race weekend, and I was like, wow, this is actually pretty cool. So I have a different perspective than most, but
in fairness, I heard that the races are an absolute party, and they don't.
Oh yeah, it's a redneck party. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Right up my alley.
I had a friend who okay, correct me if I'm wrong here, but she was working at the
Indianapolis 500. Yep.
Yeah. So she was working at that this summer, and she was covering it, and she said it was unbelievable. She's like, I think it might be my new favorite sport. It's just so much fun, and everyone is so much fun. And
it is literally the dark horse of sports. I'm telling you right now.
Well,
I got your back, NASCAR.
I think they might get more viewers, actually. I know I knocked it a second ago, but I think they get more viewers than hockey does.
I think so too. I mean, they're on ESPN, so yeah. We're getting there. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there someday.
True. But Brooke, what's going on? What's new with you? What's up with the Rivs? What happened this week?
The Rivs are killing it, as always. We've had couple, probably, I don't even know how many weeks it's been, but we're just like ready to get going playing. But we work out before practice, then we have practice, and we all like, we're starting to get that chemistry going. It's really fun. And I do have to toot my own horn this week because of this. So we have been doing like conditioning, not like like we're not getting on the line and bag skating, but our coach is like, okay, we're gonna do full ice 3-on-3, and like that is a bagger for anybody that knows. Like it's hard. Like luckily this week we got to change on the fly, but normally he blows a whistle. Yeah. Normally he blows a whistle, and I'm like, I'm up and down the ice 3 times already, and obviously like I'm in the back, and then I'm in the front, and I'm like, I just gotta get off. Like get me off. But this week my 2 line mates and I were paired with the defense, and this is what I have to say about that. Yeah, don't let me finish my story first, Lindsay.
Oh my.
So we were doing, so the defense would play with a forward line, and then it would be the other 3 forward lines. So it was 9 against 9. And my line has been undefeated for the past, I think we've been doing it for 3 weeks now, 2 or 3 weeks.
Who's on your line? Who's on your line?
Kendall and Mal, both RIT alum, both CHA alum. So it's Kendall, Mal, and I, and we're on the white line. And so every week we squeak away, and we're like, oh, it's going to be the blue line with the defense today. And we're like, oh, yes, nice. So we were the last pick to go with the defense. No harm, no foul. So this week, and the defense, this is the whole preface to this, the defense went completely defeated. They had not won a 3-on-3 yet until this week when my line was with the defense, and we won. So boom, Lindsay, they needed us. That's what I was told. That's what I was told. They said, oh no, we need the white line because hey, we won. And so to this day, I'm still undefeated, Lindsay. Yeah, still undefeated.
You know what this reminds me of?
What?
When we went to Lindenwood and we had a little beef between the forwards and the
little beef, Lindsay. It was a massive beef.
You know what? Okay, so I'm not even gonna lie. I had Megan Quinn, Maddie Welch, Jessica DiGirolamo on the phone for this, and we were going over what happened that weekend, and none of the other defense seemed to remember what happened because it was so minor, and you guys took everything way too far. So let's dive into it. What happened, bro?
Okay.
What happened that weekend?
Well, you know what? I also had a phone call with Emma Pulaski before this, so don't even think that you can beat me, Lindsay. Okay, this is what happened. Long story short, we traveled to Lindenwood. We have to fly there, okay? And I forget, I think it was like, so we always play against the defense in games at practice, and like for some reason the defense was beating us like every time. And
we always win, Brooke.
No, that's not true. Anyway, that week the defense got the best of us. So we're like, oh, like screw the defense, like whatever. Not a big deal. Obviously not a big deal. Like whatever. We fly to Lindenwood, and there was like tension already as it was for some reason. There was already tension. And so we get there and we have to split locker rooms. So we're like, okay, like how are we going to do this the most fair way? We got put defense and forwards. That was mistake number 1.
After a beefy week.
Yeah, a bad week, and we get split up.
Not good for team morale.
Yeah, so that was bad, as it was. And so the trip to Lindenwood was miserable every time. Like bad weather, delayed, like everyone was just grumpy.
In St. Louis, Missouri, for anyone who doesn't know.
Yeah, and so this is where I am at with the forward side. The defense, we only had one speaker, and it was not a great speaker, okay? The defense would take the speaker and hog it. They wouldn't even share it. They never, not shared it. And then
we put it in the middle. We put it in the middle of the door.
Yeah. They put it in the middle, but they got to be the DJs. Whatever. So they took the speaker. They were the DJs. And then we tried to take the speaker, and we're like, okay, like you guys get it for this time. We get it for that time. Oh no. I am always last in the locker room, and they still would wait for me to be the last person out, so that I couldn't take it back, or that any of the forwards couldn't take it back. They would take it on the bus and run on the bus, and I'm like, "What the heck, you guys? Like it's a speaker." And obviously, oh yeah, it was just speaker. Then why are you so mad about it? I'm like,
it's just
okay, okay. It is just a speaker, but on top of that, you guys would always take all the tape first, all the clear, all the stick tape gone, and on top of that, you guys have less players than us, and we still had to go into your locker room in
It
between.
makes more sense. There's more room for you guys to squeeze
There's
in.
less people to fit in our room. Come on. So it was bad all week, and we were beefing, and I'm pretty sure we had to have a meeting to apologize to each other because it was yeah.
Oh man, yeah. No, it got personal.
Yeah.
It
And
definitely
you guys
got
always
personal.
cheated dodgeball too, so we were mad about that too.
Yeah, it must be tough being a forward, eh? Because the defense, this is what I always find on teams. Defense always love each other. Like it's always happy on the back end. Like everyone, like good job, like fist pumps. Like we're so positive. Forwards are like, why didn't you pass me the puck? Like I was wide open. And like that would never fly on the D end. And you can't even deny that.
I can deny it because we hold each other accountable up front. Anyways, if you guys want to hear more about this argument, literally go back in our Twitter beef that we had not even that long ago. Emma and I flamed you guys. Don't even.
Oh, Brooke, you said when the defense changed on the forecheck. When else are we supposed to change?
No, the back check.
We would change on the back check? No, then they'd be on a breakaway. That doesn't happen, Brooke. You said when defense change on the forecheck, and then you go pass it up to the blue line, no one's there. Well, when are we supposed to change? Because you guys will
about it.
We'll do a clear breakout, and you guys will skate up to the red line.
We can't both
over, and we'll be gassed, needing a change, and then you'll go and change, and we'll be left out to dry.
You should change one at a time, like you were taught.
On the back check?
Yep. No, the forecheck. Whatever, dude. You're getting it twisted.
You're getting it twisted. Anyways,
nothing is worse than Can-Am, though. I don't think.
No, Can-Am gets rude.
Can-Am was bad.
Ruthless. We would go half the team. Like when we had like battle days, we'd go Can-Am. So Americans on one team, Canadians on the other, and that would get personal. And then it was like World Juniors season, and
it was bad.
It was really bad.
Yeah, because I remember the first time that you guys, they tried to give Team USA the orange jerseys and you guys the blue jerseys. And I'm like, no, that does not make sense. Like, honestly, USA gets the blue, you guys get the orange because it's closer to red and your main color is red. Like,
I love that.
Just minor stuff like that. Oh,
well, I would love the orange jerseys because they fit better. They were actually big. The blue ones were too small. They'd always look like a crop top on me.
Speaking of crop top, you should see my jersey now. I have Mal and Kenny that are literally half my size, and they look normal in their jerseys. And I am wearing my bigger pants from UNH now with my shell over, and I got the shirt, and I'm like back checking, and I can feel like my jaw coming out, and I'm like, oh my God, I need to stop. Like I'm done with this show. Like I'm good.
Speaking of equipment,
yes,
I'm 1 week into wearing the bubble, 3 practices in. I hate it.
Lindsay!
I hate it.
Give it a chance.
I'm giving it a chance, and I'm gonna battle through it. It's just
what's
a little
so bad about it?
It's just it fogs up. I can't breathe. Like you know it's a hard drill when it starts to fog because I'm like pulling the chins like breathe like brutal. I need some tips, Brooke. Give me some pointers.
Okay, well, Lindsay, number 1, you need to clean it regularly. Like that is important. You can use the bubble spray. That's shampoo. I'm telling you. Yep. I've heard that
conditioner.
Shampoo.
Yeah. Okay.
Shampoo. I've heard that Pantene is the best kind. So get a travel size. Go to CVS. Go to Walgreens. Whatever. Get the travel size. Try it out. I'm telling you. Do the inside though. You don't need to do the outside all the time. If you want to, you can. But inside, much more important.
So
also, I wear mine a little looser. So because I don't like the chin thing, like all up in my grill. So if it's out a little bit more, you get the little bit more of an air passage. So those would be my 2 things to you. Clean it regularly and let it hang a little bit.
Okay. So what about breathing? Because like I'm like doing these short little breaths and I'm like suffocating in there.
You'll get used to that. I don't have tips for that because I'm just, Lindsay, I've been wearing a bubble for like 8 years. So like, I don't really know. Like, I think I'm just used to it. I will agree with you. I probably had harder breathing problems as it was. You know what I mean? Here and there. You will run into it, and it is what it is.
So do you take full breaths or do you do short?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but also after a drill though, if you're going to the board or whatever, I take it off.
Okay. So
That's when you get your best air.
So is it embarrassing to like take it off because you're dying? Like, is that like, should I be like
People
hiding?
think it's like that, but like I also sweat like a lot. So if I keep it down and I'm not moving, it fogs up bad, like really bad. So I take it off because I'm like avoiding, because when you steam, like in your cold place and you steam, that's what happens.
Okay, so also, which is worse for a bubble? Cold air, a cold rink, or a hot rink?
I would say a hot rink because I would say hot rink because between the air temperature and like your breathing, it's because like if it's on the inside, like you can just like squeegee it away, but if it's on the outside, you're kind of screwed. So yeah, hot air is not great for it.
Okay.
But yeah. But speaking of that, wearing a bubble, like you're breathing heavy, like are you guys doing like drills, or like I guess I need to know like why you need help breathing, because I mean we've been conditioning and stuff, but I've been all right. Like
Brooke, we got skated this week. Just a little one, but let me tell you,
no. Like on the line skating?
Yeah, just like a quick one, but
No.
I haven't done that in a few months.
Yeah, no.
It's like February, so it hurts, and there's nothing like being in shape. You can be as in good as shape as you can be
100%.
off the ice. Like on the ice is totally different, right?
100%. So I could run all summer, I could rollerblade all summer, but it's nothing like skating. No way.
No shot. So yeah, we've been buzzing around there on the goal line, a little skate.
That gives me PTSD.
Nothing like a Herbie like we used to do in Q's, or the 45-second drill.
No.
Nothing like that. Nothing too serious. Those were the worst. Like the 45-second drill, the pain in your legs.
Yeah. Because like skating drills like that, I don't know what I would rather do, to be honest. Because like a Herbie, like how far you have and how far you have to go, but it stops and start, and that's a no for me. At least 45-second, you get to move the whole time, but also like if you have bad balance / edges like me, doesn't matter anyway. You're still gonna be in the back. Like, and okay, yeah, it's only 3 laps. No. It's 3 laps each way, 2 times, and it is miserable. And no breaks.
You have to get 45 seconds, and it sounds like on paper, like that sounds like okay, that's not so bad. It's just 3 laps, but like you're wheeling as hard as you can for 3 laps. It's pretty hard. Like it hurts. So like I used to say the same thing. Like I used to be like, I'd take 45-second drill over to like a Herbie, which is like stops and starts, lightning drill, whatever suicides you want to call them.
Yeah.
I would take that over like a Herbie any day. And then this year that switch flipped, man.
Yeah, no. I think Herbie. I'm Herbie. But I think I would rather take that over. Remember when we did army crawls? Literally made us do army crawls. Like this is what we were talking about when we have bye weeks and you have like these insane skating drills. We literally did army crawls multiple times. Like,
yeah, Coach Brendan got in a little phase where we would do forwards versus defense, and whoever lost had to do an army crawl, and it was
the whole length of the ice too. Like that video, we're gonna have to retweet that video or like share that video. It was literally, we did the exact same thing as this NHL team that was doing it to get conditioned for the bubble. Like,
oh man, yeah, never forget Steph Grassi.
Oh my God.
Respect. She had a hard time with that one. So did I. Like I'm not one to talk, but that was funny.
My arms are too long. That's why I'm bad at push-ups too, because I'm like, my arms are too long.
Same with chin-ups. Like it's all squatting. It's not fair.
Yeah, our limbs are too long.
Yeah, it's not fair.
Anyways, we'll have to get more into that talk next week because unfortunately we've reached the end of episode 4. Is this 4?
This is number 4.
It's blown by. We've been here for a month already, you guys. Like, wow. But we really appreciate all the support. Continue to listen, continue to tune in every week. It can be heard on Barn Burner Radio Network on its 122 platforms. Her network is part of Barn Burner Media Network. Check it out on barnburner.ca for all the news and programming. Listen here, guys. Barn Burner, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, live it. Like that's where we are. That's where you can find us every week. So until next week, Lindsay, have a great one. Can't wait to check in on you next week and see how that bubble tip works for you.
Heck yeah, we got a special Thanksgiving episode next week. So stay
Sweet.
tuned, everyone.
Yes. Have a great week, everyone.